We have a fantastic afternoon lined up for you today. I'm very grateful that some of the biggest brains in the business have accepted our invitation to talk about opportunities and threats in the shipping industry.
We talk about modernize or sink. We talk about digitize or die. Or we even say things like big data is for us like sex is for teenagers. Are you thinking? So everyone talks about it. Nobody really knows how to do it. Everyone thinks everyone else is doing it. So I think this is also one of the articles recently published in Lloyd's list. It's a good way to describe digitalization in shipping.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. Before we started, we asked each of you a very simple question. We asked our experts from both of the panels to identify which digital innovation they expect to have the biggest impact on their businesses over the next 24 months. Now, we will get into some detail, but can I ask that we start there and just give a flavour of your positions on this? Look, you've already sort of started us off there, but give us a little bit more depth in terms of how you see innovation affecting DNVGL and the role of class.
Yeah, I think if I look at one of the really high potential developments, it's what we are doing now with machine learning to really put, smart algorithms in place to help speed up the responses that we are providing to our customers on technical questions. Now we just, hired a digital trainee. So this is a machine learning algorithm. She's been with us now for about 3 months. And she has the accumulated knowledge of about 200,000 questions and answers on technical subjects. And the speed in which she learns is truly amazing. And we are using her now to direct these questions that we are getting from our customers to the right expert in the organization. The next step, which I think will take place in a couple of months' time, is that she will also come up with the proposed answer. And then the technical expert can validate that response. And I foresee that we will really speed up the response time incredibly by doing that. So it's pretty amazing. In 3 months, she has the accumulated knowledge of 200,000 questions and answers.
Lloyd's List journalists in the audience, take note. You can be digitized. Ari, I mentioned blockchain, because that was something we were talking about. But I think, our discussion has gone beyond that to some extent. You are a believer in technology and the power for its change, but very much now seeing a sort of more pragmatic reality, I think, fair to say.
I was reflecting on it when you made your introduction, that it's very easy to see where we want to go, kind of on the other side of the river. And then it's very easy to see all the practical challenges we have here. But it's kind of hard at this time in age to see the bridge from here to there. There's a lot of dust in the air at the moment. There's a lot of hype. You called it fluff. I think we're likely at peak digitization in the sense that the balloon is pretty expanded at this point in time. That being said, I firmly believe, and I think your example, Knut, is great. There is massive potential, but we certainly have to navigate our way and find the next stone to cross this river. I am a little bit worried about companies fearing that everyone else is doing a lot and going off and making big investments in things that might be a little bit rash. Particularly when it comes to blockchain and other technologies that I think are important from a supply chain basis, meaning that we actually need to interact with each other. I think it's important that we collaborate, that we actually talk together, and that we don't compete on having the best and the biggest and the shiniest. That won't take us to where we want to go.
Andrea, do you have the biggest, the best and the shiniest? Are you investing heavily in digital twins and digital assistants to get some efficiency into the V Group fleet?
Yes, and I want to first to make a small step back. I feel myself, I feel old because I feel privileged, because when I finish university, I come in the industry with in the hype of automation. I mean, it was middle of the 80s and was another revolution, maybe I don't know, this is 4.0 revolution, that was 3.0, the automation. And I was in a very exciting, I was very lucky to be in a very exciting project for Saipem, one of the biggest semi-submersible drilling rigs, Norwegian design, so I was at home in Oslo, and she is still operating in the Norwegian sector. She has spent this rig, the Scarabeo 5, spent all their life in the Norwegian sector. And at that time, I remember I was a project manager, and we were designing for 4,000 input and output signals on the automation. And eventually, I was 30 years younger and very excited and with great hopes, and there it was automation will replace the human beings. And still after 30 years, automation is supporting, but still we have the drilling rigs with the same amount of people, the vessels with 25 person. Maybe we cut 2 or 3 positions, but no big changes. I think that digitalization is impacting us the same as automation impacted us. The important thing is not the data, is the connected ship. Because we have the data on board, we need to take them ashore. We all think when we talk about digitalization we talk about the cruise vessels, the offshore, where the pipelines are huge in communication. We have 60,000, maybe not you have better data, 60,000 bulk carrier tankers where you have 20 people on board and very little connection. I mean, 2 years ago, we made a survey, just out of the 1,000 ships we manage, only 40% were connected decently to get decent use of data. Now is increasing, the communication price is going down, and this is the important thing. And together with this, I think in automation is the common sense has to prevail. We will still have human beings on board, because I try to be a little bit provocative here. I don't see the autonomous vessel for being replicable for the 60,000 seagoing vessel around the world. So we will still have the human element on board. The important thing that a lot of people do not take is we need to translate this data with algorithm for decision support system for the people on board and ashore, because without this automatic algorithm that are translating the data in decision support system for the people who manage the vessel, we will fail.
We will inevitably come back to that point in just a second.
Yeah.
But before I do, I want to give Christopher a quick opportunity to come in with an opening statement. I put Christopher on these panels largely because I find it very compelling, but also I like watching everybody's jaw drop when he effectively sort of spells the doom mongering that goes on in shipping, but does it in a very compelling way. Christopher, your latest report due to come out. I've had the pleasure of reading an advanced copy, well, 30% of it. I can't quite bring myself to get to the shipbuilding bit yet, but I will do once I've had a few drinks. Give us the brief synopsis of where we are. For anyone who doesn't know, Christopher is, I described him as the Cassandra in chief, because he keeps saying the future is coming, and more and more people, unfortunately, are now believing him. So, what does the future look like in your book?
I would like to take a slightly different perspective into the question than I have planned, because I would like to follow up on your comments. To my understanding, the 4.0 is not necessarily only about autonomous or digitalization or whatever we would like to call it. To my understanding, we have a more fundamental change going on here. On the one hand, we have an aging consumer base in the OECD. Basically, that basically means that all global consumers are about to retire. This is not to say that we will not continue to spend, but our spending behavior will change towards services that are not seaborne driven. So that basically means that we are about to see global trade volume stagnating. And now we come back to the combinatorial effects of the fourth industrial revolution. Because why I think that the 4.0 is about more than just, not just, I know that it's extremely complicated, please excuse me, but about autonomous. This is about that we may not necessarily need the same amount of fossil fuels in the future. So instead of having unarmed drilling rigs, this is much more about looking into the effects we have seen with renewable energies. Today we can see that both solar and wind energy are competitive on a non-subsidy basis in most of the sunny parts of the global economy, in particular in Southeast Asia. But this is the place where it matters the most, because this is the place where everybody is investing in new ships, hoping that future demands will come from due to population growth. So in these regions, we are basically being about to provide electricity at a grid parity level with fossil fuels, but on a smaller investment with a quicker repayment period. This is a very significant change in energy outlook for both for the energy sector, of course, but in particular also for the shipping sector. So basically what we're saying is that in most of all ship segments, we should not expect to see major increases in demand for the next 15 year plus, something like that. So this goes basically much more beyond all the things we see in digitalization and in our business model. This basically means that as a banker, at least, what this is about we have to pick the right winners of tomorrow, because there will be a lot of obstacles in the next few years. The market will not turn in 12 months, 18 months, whatever. But of course, we will still need shipping, we will still need ships, and we will still need fossil fuels. But the growth in these commodities is much less than what we have seen in the past. So we need to adapt to a new situation.
And it's interesting because we talk about digitization in the broadest sense of the term, but obviously these things do not exist in isolation. The decision to invest in technology one way or the other does not happen without understanding and having a view on where the markets are going. It doesn't exist without having a view on where the regulatory future of the industry lies. So these decisions are not being taken in isolation, and we can't really view digitalization as a single decision. But it does feel like we are in the midst of some fairly fundamental change on a market level, on a technology level, and it feels like we are shifting towards something that is perhaps greater than the sum of these individual conversations. And I think that's certainly something I take from each of these comments. John, in terms of your relationship as a stakeholder within this industry, I'm interested in the relationship you have with partners, because you're coming in and offering digitalization services, and you are working on a number of live projects with the shipping industry. What's your impression of how realistic the expectations are from your customers? And are we as an industry ready to digitalize? Are we doing this properly?
First of all, I think we are already there. We are talking about digitalization every day, and the industry have done it for many years. So when we move into customer engagements, they are already well aware of what they really want to do with the technologies that they have available right now. What is the problem is, what also was in the other panel discussion, is about what about the future? What about building some kind of a bridge from where we are today to be where we really want? But nobody really knows the technology in 12, 18, 24 months' time. So when we discuss digitalization, technology with our customers, it's more about really understand to build a trust relationship and do it in an agile way of working, in an agile partnership where you develop based on the technology that is available on the market. The engagement that we are doing as well is together with partners, you're right. We can't do this alone. We are from a different industry. We are coming from telco, from IT telco. What we are doing is that we have a lot of experience from other industries. We try to take all these great experience and knowledge from other industries, bring it into the maritime, not only shipping. I think we have too much focus on only shipping. It's about maritime. It's about the whole logistic chain to be connected together. So it's really about how you, in the maritime industry, try to find the right partners to secure that you are connected and that you do the journey together. And I believe that, Ericsson believes, and also together with our partners, this is a journey based on agile way of working, agile management. Because the technology, what you wanted to buy yesterday is already outdated tomorrow. So that's why we need to be in a position to make a big change management. And I think that is one of the biggest challenges in the maritime, also in the other industries, change management. And also, how do you change the behavior of human? Because it's you and me that needs to work with the new and latest technologies. So it's not about, making the internet smarter or the ship smarter. I think it's more, how can I make the human smarter to use the technologies?